Kim, what is our fourth main topic today?
All right, this is from Hayden Wilson. They say, I have seen some insider reports going out saying that an early cut of the Flash movie has been screened to some audiences. It seems that the movie will erase the SnyderVerse and all the things related to what Snyder tried to build. No more Cavil or Affleck. It would hurt me to see them do this. John and crew, what do you all think?
Well, okay, first of all, let's say this. Any reports that come out about early audience screenings is usually 1,000% bullshit. Okay? Because anybody can say, some early audiences saw bullshit. Bullshit. That you would even know that. Like, unless the Russo brothers come out and say, we did an early screening of one of our movies, or a studio exec, it's 99% of the time, it's absolute bullshit. Remember the early reports of the first Wonder Woman movie? Oh, they say early screenings and people hated it. That movie was beloved by everybody. Or the original theatrical release of Justice League. Oh, the executives gave it a standing ovation. That was bullshit. I know for a fact, because I know some people at Warner Brothers. I know for a fact that was 100% bullshit. It's normally bullshit. But there is word going around that some people are claiming, and you got to take this with a giant grain of salt, guys, but it's going around. A lot of people are asking about, so let's discuss it. Saying that the new Flash movie is basically going to retcon everything from the DCEU up until this point. Specifically, here's what comes to us from the folks over at CBR. And CBR write the following. The Flash will erase every movie Snyder has done, including the events of Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League. If these rumors are true, it means that Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne / Batman and Henry Cavill's Superman will have been completely removed from the DCEU's continuity. Director Andy Muschietti confirmed in October of this year that filming had officially wrapped on The Flash. Around that time, Muschietti confirmed during a panel at DC Fandom in China that the upcoming film will hold its fair share of surprises. We can tell you there are surprises. How many surprises? What kind of surprises, Ray?
Regular surprises.
Surprises. We cannot reveal what they are, the director said, but it will probably blow your socks off. The less we talk about it, the better. All right. So again, I want to say this whole rumor thing, and CBRs say, their quote, CBRs, their source is just a Twitter user, put this up and blah, blah, blah. But it's somebody who's had a little bit of a track record, so whatever. Let's, for the moment, for the sake of argument, say that this report is even marginally true. Okay? Just for a moment. For the sake of discussion. Is it really all that crazy? I mean, just in the last little while, DC Comics itself has done not one, but two full-fledged reboots. Whether it was the New 52 and then what was it, Rebirth?
Well, they did Crisis on Infinite Earths in
and
the 80s.
And then even before that, yeah, and after going back
0 Hour,
away.
Infinite Crisis, the New 52. I mean, they've done it within the continuity of their own comics.
Exactly, which to me is like, okay, a lot of times us fans are crying, be more like the comics. And then they do something like the comics. How dare you do that? I mean, the comics themselves have often done full reboots, right? Would I be upset to find out that this new Flash movie, something's going to happen and it's going to reset the timeline. It's going to reset it so all the events that came are now forever changed. Henry Cavill's Superman was never there. The Ben Affleck Batman, even though he's going to be in this Flash movie, the new Ben Affleck Batman was never there, which, I mean, we know Michael Keaton is going to be Batman moving forward, at least for one or two projects. My ultimate thing is, I don't care. But John, you love Henry Cavill as Superman. Yeah, I do. But guess what? If they do use the Flash movie to reset the timeline and start fresh, guess what? My Henry Cavill standee doesn't disappear. It doesn't get Thanos snapped away.
How do you know?
You never know. But my digital copy of Man of Steel, honestly, my 2 digital copies of Man of Steel, my digital copy of Man of Steel doesn't Thanos snap away. It's still there. It's still one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. It's still the most underrated comic book movie of all time. That doesn't change. And it's still a part of history, even though the DCU continuity gets reset. And this is only if they're doing that. And I'm not convinced they are. But if they did, all it means is they're moving on to the next chapter of their story. And they're doing what the comic books have always done, which is done some kind of hard reset on their universes moving forward. So honestly, if they're doing it, my point of view is it is neither a good thing nor a bad thing. It's just what they're doing. It all depends on if it's executed well, you know, if they tell a good story, and if they make it make sense. And if they make it make sense, then I'm okay with it. And I'll always have I'll lament that I won't get to see Henry as Superman again. I'll lament that. But that's probably what was happening anyway. Hey guys, we want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this video, Stamps.com. Now, whether you are a small business owner, have a side hustle, selling stuff online, maybe you just like to share things back and forth with your friends, good news, Stamps.com is going to help you out a lot. Because if you're anything like me, there are many times in my life that I didn't send something to a friend of mine, or I didn't want to sell something online simply because I didn't want the hassle and expense of having to ship stuff out. And for those of us here at the John Campea Show, Stamps.com is going to be huge for us in 2022 because we've been doing more giveaways like shirts, you know, pops and other things. And we plan on doing a lot of that. And that's just wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Stamps.com. And for people like us, Stamps.com is a godsend because it lets you print out official postage right from your computer so you can spend less time at the post office and more time running your business or sharing things with the people in your life. And Stamps.com doesn't just give you access to the US Postal Service, it also works with UPS now right from your computer. And you can get discounts that you cannot get anywhere else, like up to 40% off the United States Postal Service rates and 76% off UPS. So right now, head on over to Stamps.com and go up to that microphone up in the corner, click on that and enter the promo code Campea, that's CAMPEA. This will give you a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts required at all. And now, let's get back to the video. So I don't know, Rob, you hear about this. The first thing I want you to touch on is, what do you think of the chances are this is valid? But then, just for the sake of discussion, if it is valid, what's your take on it?
Well, first of all, you have Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and I would imagine that Ezra Miller doesn't disappear at the end of his own movie. So Flash is going to stick around. Those are 3 characters and actors that Zack Snyder cast. And You've got Aquaman 2 is coming out because Jason Momoa is not going anywhere. Gal Gadot's going to play Wonder Woman again. So you're not really eliminating
It's not 100%
the
reset,
SnyderVerse. However, I could see that at the end of the film, Ben Affleck, because of the Flashpoint storyline that they're touching on, might get retconned out of the universe, which makes sense to me because we're getting a new Batman, and why not a new Superman? J.J. Abrams has been rumored to be taking over Superman or making a Superman movie. Obviously, he wrote what McGee was going to direct, the Flyby script that didn't get made in favor of Superman Returns getting made. So I don't see it as eliminating Snyder's Justice League. Like, I would love to see a SnyderVerse continuation of Zack Snyder's Justice League where we see the defeat of Darkseid, or they go and whatever, Mongol, whatever you were going to do. I would love to have seen that. That is not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But the DNA of Zack Snyder's Justice League continues on at Warner Brothers. And that's pretty cool.
And look, as a massive, obviously, fan of Henry Cavill Superman.
Me too.
The reality is this. I have to separate my fandom, I should say, from everything else and go, the reality is I've always understood that just because I love it, you love it, a lot of people didn't like Henry Cavill Superman. And that's fine. I mean, all film is subjective, and they did not have the success with that iteration of Superman that they or any of us wanted it to have. That's the reality. And it's easy for me as a fan, because it's not my money, going, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. And well, that's easy for me to say, but if it's not working for them and the audience hasn't responded to it, great. I mean, look, you know me, I've always wanted him to come back, but apparently he's not. Let's say this. It might not be the worst idea in the world for them to try to hit something of a 50% reset button and say, okay, we're going to try something different because what we've been doing hasn't had the success we wanted. Is it the dumbest thing in the world to say, let's try to kind of restart? I don't know. It depends on how they do it. Kim, what do you think about all this?
You know what? I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it because, look, Zack Snyder did an amazing job. One of my favorite films this year was the HBO Zack Snyder cut. I was so excited for it. I believe it delivered. It had so many elements I loved. I don't think he did a bad job at all. But I think a reimagining is totally fine. And for me, DC films have, although I love Zack Snyder, they cohesively, they kind of hit different for me. I don't get as excited as I do about Marvel. And so I'm fine with them kind of pressing the reset button and saying, let's review the storytelling and see if there's a different angle. So I'm excited for this movie, and I'm excited to see how they tell the story. I'm open
Now,
to
it could end up being disastrous. I mean, what they do in The Flash could end up being like a nuclear meltdown kind of moment for WB on this. It could be absolutely horrible. It could work out well. Look, all I'm saying is I'm not going to rush to judgment on the plans of resetting, because look, it is beyond, there's no debating it. There is no discussion to be had that the DCEU has not performed the way they hoped it would perform.
Yeah.
From when Man of Steel came out till now, even though Man of Steel is one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. And I'll keep saying that for the rest of my life, forever and ever, for always and amen. But, and despite the fact that I like Batman versus Superman and I like Justice League and all that kind of stuff, look, if you're making a product and it's not working the way you want it to, you'd be a fool to not make changes.
Well, I think there's something you're missing here, and that is, and I'll tell you this. I saw this on a schedule. They're making The Flash No Way Home again, and Brandon Routh and Henry Cavill and the new Superman that they've already cast. So all three Supermen are coming back in the third.
Is Dean Cain going to come back?
You know what? I asked that,
almost
and they only if the two Superboys that they had cast early on. And I didn't want to say anything, but since you brought it up, John, I mean, Warner Brothers is playing the long game. They looked at these box office numbers. They're like, hey.
Again, so look, I understand that this headline, Flash rumor says the film will erase previous DCU movies. Well, okay, no. My beloved copy, Man of Steel, is still there. Those movies actually still happened. And before we get too upset, I'm just going to say, well, let's see what the plan is. Right now, here's one of the crazy things about us movie fans, and I include myself in this because I do this too. I'm guilty of this. We hear a rumor or even a little tidbit of a fact, and then we construct an entire world around that one acorn of information we have, and we totally get carried away with it. I've done it. Everybody who's watching the show has done it.
Hashtag Mephisto.
Hashtag Mephisto, right? And we've all done it, right? So I think we all need to learn, including me. It's like, okay, look, let's see the movie.
Yeah.
And maybe the movie looks good, maybe it looks bad, but let's see and actually find out what their plan is before we get too wound up or too excited about what the meaning of the movie is when we haven't even seen the movie yet. So,
I mean, we are, no joking aside, or all joking aside, we are getting 3 different Batmen on screen this year.
It's crazy.
We're getting Robert Pattinson, Ben Affleck, and Michael Keaton. I mean, that's not quite No Way Home, but that's pretty amazing if you really think about it. So who knows what's going to happen in the future? But we did get a Henry Cavill trilogy.
Yeah, we did. I mean, if I don't get anything more, I still got Henry Cavill in a number of them. And from his chest to his waist, even though it wasn't really him, in Shazam. So there's that. There's that. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Are you, like sometimes we are, like Chicken Little running around saying, the sky is falling, the sky is falling? Are you like, no, this is a great idea? Are you kind of like me, maybe somewhere in the middle saying, well, let's see what that happens. However you guys are feeling about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.